The ICE raids are still on. No longer in Chicago or New York City, but now it's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, Charlotte, North Carolina is not a sanctuary city, but Charlotte, North Carolina does have a large, Hispanic population, especially like with Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. I'm not sure about Mexicans, but definitely I know Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, definitely down in North Carolina and South Carolina. And then some of these people, of course, could be illegal. And
ICE agents in plain clothes raided a church in North Carolina, going after anyone they possibly could without asking for ID. Members of the church located in East Charlotte, North Carolina, fled to nearby woods. A 15-year-old said, "We thought the church was safe and nothing was going to happen, but it did happen." According to the witnesses, around 15 to 20 congregants were doing yard work at the church when masked immigration enforcement agents stormed the area. A pastor said the agents asked no questions and provided no identification before detaining one man and attempting to apprehend others. One of the individuals who fled to the nearby woods said, "I thought, wait, why am I running? I'm a U.S. citizen."
Got him!
damn, dude took off running and he wasn't even guilty, but wait.
Take a look at the aftermath of this raid. We can see children crying and terrified in a place where they're supposed to feel safe.
Porque tenemos gente trabajando en la iglesia. Y estos son nuestros niños. Estos son nuestros niños dentro de una iglesia donde han venido los de...
So as you're seeing, ICE is being rough. And with the president that we have, he's not going to be out here, playing with people, okay? Especially North Carolina did vote for him. For now, it's a red state. So people just getting, taken off the streets and handcuffed and windows busted out and they just snatching you up, right? Now, what was interesting was there was a sister that reported on what was happening live, and this happened.
The patrol is in Charlotte, North Carolina on the south side right now, and they are raiding Hispanic restaurants and places of business. How is it legal? How is it legal? Like the way they are just walking up to people who are working. I have so many videos that I have saved. Walking up to people who are working and just snatching them. Busting car windows. Snatching people from laundromats. From a laundromat. Restaurants. Trump, are you serious? How is this legal?
Okay, now shout out to the sister. And again, she is obviously devastating and crying. And again, people take this stuff differently. Not everybody will have the same opinion, but I did see the comments. Shout out to North Carolina Beat. They were covering it. And then look at this. Ashley Nicole, empathy is lost on some of y'all in these comments. And that is literally why we are where we are in this country. Okay. This person goes, it's called possessing empathy and humanity. The lack of these is a downfall of humans. Animals show more humanity than humans. And then you hear this right here. We in the era of worry about yourself. Person goes, Ish messed up, man. I got a couple amigos I do legit business with and they good people. My mechanic Hispanic and been good to me for 15 years now. Ish sad all the way around. Now this other person goes, I understand their pain, but my people came on boats with no options. Now, this person's a Nigerian brother, seems. Not to be disrespectful, and it's heartbreaking what is happening, but no country on this planet will allow anyone to live there illegally for years. My parents paid a lot of money, filled out a lot of paperwork just to be able to get here. Millions of immigrants did the same. It's not fair to cut the line. It is what it is. Now, this young lady is looking at the situation, or at least describing it as ICE is coming in and just taking these people off the streets for no reason. And of course, that is how she's, making it seem. I do not know if she understands that those people are illegal and should not be in the country. Butting in, as some black people do, we equate that, some people should have protection because number one, we don't like the current president, or most don't like the current president. And just that, we have friends who are Hispanics and that's okay. I want to rebut that. because I'm from California. Obviously, I grew up with a lot of Hispanics. But as I have now been living as a foreigner myself, guys, living overseas is tough when you're foreign to a nation. There is so much red tape. You know, you got to go through certain things to get your documents. I have a work visa here in Uganda. You got to go through Interpol, you know, fingerprints, everything, pay a bunch of taxes, and you need to be legal wherever you're at. In most countries that Americans are in, you have to make a certain amount of money to even get residency there, okay? Most business work visas in East Africa, for the most part, Kenya and Uganda, requires the minimum of $100,000 investment. If you're in South Africa, it's like $500,000 for you to be legal, all right? If you're in Mexico or any country, most countries, you need to work or make a certain amount of cash just for you to be there. Now imagine if I come to any country, the same country that these folks are coming from, whether it's, you know, South America, Central American countries, or Mexico, and they catch Black Americans there. Do you think that they're not gonna put your ass out? They're gonna put you out immediately. They will deport you quickly. Like my granddaddy used to say, so fast it'll make your head spin. And again, because we're so empathetic and so loving of others, we have to ask the fundamental question, are these people loving of us? One day, I happened to be at a diaspora meeting that we had here in Uganda. We used to have a group, shout out to Africa Ever After. They was kind of heading our group for a minute. You know, they went back to Kansas City. But I can remember a time where there was some Rwandese Americans that happened to be there. So if you guys don't know the history of Uganda and Rwanda, you have some people that come or they came from Rwanda in the 70s, 60s, and they kind of stayed in Uganda. And some of them have Ugandan heritage, so they're kind of like mixed. Well, some of these Rwandese people ended up getting to America and staying and getting citizenship. But sometimes they come back and they live here because they identify more with being Ugandan now than Rwandese. And so in this case, there was a young lady that was at this meeting, and she was concerned because President Trump was running for office. This is 2024. And so he was talking about limiting immigration from these African countries. And so she was upset because she wanted some of the people that were still living here to come to America and get citizenship. And I was like, but why do you want that? And she was like, well, I want them to have a better life and have access. I said, well, what about the blacks that are there now? Well, that's not my issue. I said, well, let me ask you this. How do you feel about Black Americans getting citizenship in Rwanda or Uganda? Well, I have a problem with that. I said, well, why do you have a problem with that? And so she really didn't have a rebuttal for that, but she just had an issue with it. In other words, a lot of times, this is not every time, but I do think there's sometimes, let me just rephrase that. You have Black Americans who have pity for other groups, yet if you were to get citizenship in their country, they would be fighting against that. They would love to get citizenship in America, but if you were to get citizenship in their country, or you were there illegal, they would want you out. And so there is a problem having typically remorse or love for other people who, number one, do not understand your problems. And number two, if it's so many of them that come, they will forget about your hospitality and they would not issue or give you the same level of hospitality because these people are typically coming from third world countries where, you know, they don't come from a mindset, usually, in my honest opinion, of, you know, goodwill for other groups. They don't come with the mentality of opportunity and working with other groups. No, they're surviving and trying to get out, and they're in America for them. We see it right now with certain Hispanic groups. You see it right now with, you know, certain Islamic groups in Dearborn, Arabic groups. You see it with the Somalians in Minnesota. They are not there for you. They're there for them, okay? And that's fine. If you're there for yourself, great. When ICE come and pick your ass up, you are on your own. They do not need your help. I would tell every Black person in America, while it can be wrong that somebody are mistreated, they have kids, it's understandable to have empathy or sympathy from them on a human level. But if they are not legal, if they have not done the things that they should do to be in the country, they should not stay because you would not be able to stay. I'm in Uganda right now. The moment you don't pay your taxes, I remember I have, you know, a phone line here with MTN. Anybody who've ever been here, you know, you have MTN and Airtel. And so I did not know that I needed to, that once you get your new work permit, you need to go to MTN and update it. So now my work permit expired. And on the same day I was getting my work permit changed over, I paid quite a bit of money for it for 3 years. I'm wondering why my phone not working. I'm calling, I'm not getting no numbers, I'm not getting nothing. The only thing working is my WhatsApp on Wi-Fi. And then I realized, oh, it's not working because the work permit has cut off. Now Uganda is late on everything. But whenever your ass is missing a payment, or if your work permit money ain't tied up, they gonna cut all your shit off, right? That's the one thing that worked. I had to take my ass up there, and they didn't want to hear, oh, well, you know, your work permit's cut off. Do you got it or not? Okay? Are you legal or not? Now, you got people in America illegal, got cell phones, got this and that, ain't paying no money, benefiting off taxpayers' money. You don't have no black Americans in Ghana benefiting off no Ghanaian taxpayers' money. We got to pay money into the system. When we go to Uganda, when you go to South Africa, anywhere in the world, Americans got to pay or they will be deported. And so people who are coming into America, they got to be treated the same way. Because if you go to their country, they'll get your ass out of there in a heartbeat with a blink of an eye. And that is how most countries are like that. They don't care about you. And so, like I said, these people who've never lived abroad, you don't understand that. And like I said, if you get caught up at the church, and I will say this, well, they were at church. Well, that's where a lot of illegals hang out, is at churches, okay? So yeah, if your ass is there at church and you down bad, they're gonna come to the church. They're gonna come to the barbecue pits. They're gonna come to anywhere where they think your ass is at, and they're gonna get you, all right? So, hey, if they gotta go, they gotta go. Get legal, okay? Get legal. Just because you're having a rough time in your country and you leave illegally and enter into another country, that don't give you the right to do that illegally. You don't want to follow the rules, but you want to be able to stay there. And I know a lot of black folks want them there because, you know, you get the cheap labor and cutting your lawn, and, you know, some of you brothers out there got your little nice little, you know, illegal girlfriends and the booty clapping is there and all that stuff. I get it. But what is right is right. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy Oshay Jackson back at it again. Another episode of Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.